Welcome to Milwaukee for the lone ranked versus ranked showdown in college basketball tonight. It's a top 20 game as the Creighton Blue Jays, ranked 15th in the country, take on the 19th ranked Marquette Golden Eagles. And welcome to Big East Shootaround, everybody. John Fanta here with you. We've got a loaded show because not only is this a big one, but it's a night to honor history. Lawrence Moden, the previous all-time Big East leading scorer, a Syracuse great, has flown out to Milwaukee to honor the new all-time leading scorer at 1,408 points and counting, Marcus Howard of Marquette. We'll talk to Lawrence in a little bit. We'll have Ben Steele of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel here in a few moments to put Howard's career in perspective. What we're watching right now is something that will stand in a class of its own forever. We'll get to that in mere moments. But we start with a wild game at Madison Square Garden. That's where the week of Big East hoops began. Last night, St. John's trailing early 14-3. They got going. 64-61, Red Storm up as they were getting out on the break, forced 22 turnovers. But then Xavier would come striking back. The Musketeers, even though St. John's was getting out on the run, Nick Rutherford here, you see the high-flying dunk. Garden is rocking. Roof popped off the place. You're thinking, okay, well, maybe it's a night for an upset. But then Zach Fremantle, with 10 seconds left, a Teaneck, New Jersey native, in his first game at the Garden, his dream came true to hit a game-winning shot inside the Mecca. Doesn't get much better than that. And Xavier ends up escaping in this one. The Musketeers get their 6th Big East win. They get their 3rd Quadrant 1 win of the season, and Xavier has won 4 of their last 5 games. The Musketeers starting to creep up a little bit. Here comes Travis Steele's team. Once looking down and out and on the wrong side in the bubble, they've played their way back in. And you think about where Xavier is as we look at the Big East standings. 4 of their final 5 games are Quadrant 1 opportunities. The first one, Saturday, on Fox against the Villanova Wildcats, 2:30 Eastern Time. It's part of a Fox doubleheader. It will follow Marquette and Providence, both those games on Fox. Seton Hall, still at the top of the conference standings, but right behind them now are these Creighton Blue Jays, who have won at Villanova, who have won at Seton Hall, and who own 5 Quadrant 1 road wins, second in all of college basketball. Now, the Big East is getting credit nationally in the AP Top 25 for the 2nd straight week. Take a look at the 5 teams in the poll. Villanova, the highest of them, ranked as the Wildcats got past Temple to take the Big 5 title on Sunday. And then after the Wildcats, you've got that jumble there in the top 20. Tomorrow night, it's Seton Hall and Butler in another ranked versus ranked game. There are only 2 top 25 games here the next 2 nights. The Big East is responsible for both of them with this Marquette-Creighton showdown and then with Seton Hall and Butler on Wednesday night. Looking at bracketology and how things shake out there, Mike DeCourcy, the Fox College Hoops bracketologist, has 7 Big East teams right now going to the dance. Georgetown hopping in. Right now they are right on the bubble, but it just goes to show you what one day in your season can do. The Hoyas knocking off Butler at Hinkle Fieldhouse. What a victory for Georgetown that was, to think that they were down to 5 scholarship players. Really is pretty wild that Georgetown was able to get that done. So it's a busy time of year, and with 3 weeks left of conference play, things are stacked up right now in this league. But this Marquette team, they've won 6-8. Creighton's won 7-8. So I'm gonna welcome him on here right now. Ben Steele is going to come join us here at the Fiserv Forum. Ben, good to see you.
Welcome to Milwaukee.
Absolutely.
Another big game. This league, man. Every week it's something.
It is. And Ben covers the Golden Eagles for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel day in, day out. Ben, let's first look at Marcus Howard. How would you describe this journey?
Wow. He was good when he got here. People don't tend to forget that he led the nation in three-point percentage as a freshman. And as good as he was as a freshman, he's gotten even better since then. People talk about the points, which are obviously amazing, leads the nation in scoring, but he's gotten to be a more complete player, especially the last couple of years. Defensively, improved light years in the last 2 years. He's gotten better as a distributor, just all around. Just he's become a really complete player.
How much is he everything that the NCAA stands for in a 4-year player going to get his degree and his impact going so much more than just the basketball court?
4-year player, had the chance to go pro last year, decided to come back, wanted to finish his story. And as good as a player he is on the court, I know you've talked to him several times, just a really good young man off the court. Good student, involved in the community, started the Fellowship of Christian Athletes group at Marquette. Yeah. He's very outspoken about mental health in college. He's just really good kid, really humble kid. When you talk to him after games when he scored 52, 53, he always quick to praise his teammates and his coaches. Just a good ambassador for the Marquette program. Let's
look at this Marquette team. A bit of a slow start to Big East play, but they've won 6 of their last 8. What's clicked?
There's a lot of different things. They've gotten good balance offensively, especially from Kobe McEwen. I think his last 6 games he scored in double figures, so Marcus isn't carrying the whole load offensively. Sakar Annam, I know the last couple games he's not scored as much, but games before that he was averaging around 20 a game for a 4 or 5 game span there. Really good offensive balance. Jace Johnson coming off the bench has been a really key during this winning stretch. Really good physical presence, offensive rebounds, rim protector. But it's going to be interesting tonight with, Creighton doesn't play that traditional center, so it's going to be interesting how the matchups are going to work.
How about the Blue Jays, a team that's averaging over 78 points per game? They can just light it up from the perimeter, and this is a team that was picked 7th in the conference preseason poll. Greg McDermott has to be a candidate for Big East Coach of the Year.
Absolutely. I was just talking on the radio to the folks in Omaha, and I said if I had the vote today, I would give it McDermott with the Coach of the Year. But yeah, offensively, I think they're number 4 in Ken Palm's efficiency. Can light it up. That's Marquette's going to have to guard that three-point line because if they get going, they can snowball on you. Marquette saw that in the first game of the year, January 1st.
They did. And this Creighton team, what they did last week at Seton Hall, not only defending Miles Powell, holding him to just 2 made field goals, that was Tyshawn Alexander, and you got the sense, okay, this Creighton team, it's not just scoring. If they need to get a stop, they can get it. A toughness factor has come out of them on the road, which makes this one really intriguing because if the Jays win this one, then they're a half game back of Seton Hall, and 3 of their final 4 are going to come in Omaha where they're 14-1.
Yeah, this is big. You mentioned Tyson Alexander. He was really good against Marcus Howard in that first game. Probably one of the top 5 defensive performance against Marcus Howard that I've seen in the years I've been covering the team. Really impressed with him. I think he had 6 steals in that game. Yeah. Chased Marcus Howard around all the screens all game. That's going to be the matchup to watch tonight.
What's it like covering this league night in and night out?
Well, as you can tell, I'm getting more gray hairs along my temple area. Just for the Marquette's games have been, 1 or 2 possessions, most of them getting right down to the wire. It's been something. A
couple more ice cubes in Wojo's glass of water.
Yeah, it's always filled to the brim, man.
And it will be tonight on FS1. Ben Steele, you can read him. He's with the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel at Ben Steele MJS.
Correct. Yep, that's
right.
the one.
That's where you can follow him on Twitter for updates tonight. Well, we were just talking about Marcus Howard and the kind of person that he is. You all know what he can do on the basketball court, but I took a stroll with him around Marquette University's campus, and you're going to find out a lot about this superstar of a player and person. We're walking and talking on the Marquette campus with Marcus Howard, the All-American, the reigning Big East Player of the Year. Can you show me where the library is? You've been here forever.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been 4 years, but the library is right ahead of us. Rainier Library. Do a lot of group projects there and such. But I try to keep when I'm studying. I try to keep to my own kind of private space. So I like to study in my room, but it's a really big library, so I know a lot of people go there to study, especially during finals week. So it's definitely nice.
Tell me how a kid that's in Arizona, 80-degree temperatures and sunshine.
It's not even 80. It's more like 100.
I was trying to be kind.
Yeah.
How a kid then comes to Milwaukee, Wisconsin for 4 years.
Yeah, I definitely came for the weather. No, I'm kidding. But no, this is a lot of great people here at Marquette. So just being able to be around people every day, I know I'm gonna love to be around truly. And so it's been a great 4 years. Just being around different people, meeting new crowds. So it's been fun.
When you think about your senior season, you have accomplished anything and everything individually, and there's even more potentially in store for you. But what would you define as a successful senior year?
I think first and foremost, all that really matters right now is winning. So just being able to win, go deeper into March. I think that's something that not only me personally, but we as a team have really emphasized and want to try to accomplish this year.
How do you want to be remembered here?
I want to be remembered, a person who is more than just a basketball player. So much of what we do is seen on the basketball court, but I want to be someone who, left their mark or left their legacy away from the basketball court and, impacted people not only just with putting a ball through a hoop, but, just being a great person.
We have a huge crowd right now emerging. Morning, everybody. Morning. How about this? Look at this campus. It might have a small town feel from the outside, but right here it's rustling and bustling.
At the end of the day, I think, college is the best thing for a kid in terms of wanting to grow up and find out who they want to become. And, it's hard to do that when you only go for 1 year and you leave. So I think going for 4 years in terms of from a growth aspect, a basketball player is able to grow on the court and off. And, I think that's really great because for one, like you said, that you get that piece of paper that will go beyond when basketball's over. So I think having that is extremely important. And then also too, being able to impact, not only your school, but your community, and, just those around you. So, I think that's really speaks for itself, just being able to be immersed in the university and the community is really important.
All right, we're almost done with the tour. I've been hitting you with questions for the last 15 minutes. You get a chance to ask me 3 questions. Just
Three
go.
questions? Oh, wow. Where could I go with this? Okay, I'm gonna ask you this because I'm from New Jersey.
Right.
I was born in New Jersey.
I'm from Ohio.
You're Ohio, but you live in New York. What is your favorite spot to get pizza at in New York? Tough
That's
one.
a really good question.
There you go.
So when I'm at work and I just need a slice, I hit up 2 Boots.
Okay.
Because it's near the office in Midtown.
Gotcha.
So I hit up 2 Boots Pizza in New York City. I just gave them some free pub. It's pretty darn good. I like 2 Boots. They got specialty slices. They got a slice named the Newman, which I like Seinfeld. So there you go.
There you go. It has to be the most unbiased answer you can give. What is your favorite city to visit in the Big East?
It's a good question. I can't pick one in the Midwest and one in the Northeast. I can only pick one. Sounds like I can only pick one. We'll see what you say because you go on the road there. I love going to Providence. I love going to Friartown because I love the town. It's a small town. You can get something to eat.
I will say I do like Providence because they do have a cheesecake factory right by the hotel.
Eggs right by the hotel.
I will give you that. Cheesecake Factory is a go-to. So last question. Let me see. Ooh, those 2 just roll flow.
Roll off.
So, this last one's tough. Dream vacation.
Dream vacation. Good question. I've never been on a cruise. So can I line up a Bahamas cruise?
I like that.
What about you?
A Bahamas cruise? I don't know. There's a couple places I've always wanted to go. I've always wanted to go to Greece.
That's true. It's a lame answer for me not to want to go overseas. I'd want to go to Italy because I just eat pizza all day.
I don't blame you for that. Yeah, I love pizza, so no, I definitely have to agree with that one.
There's a lot of memories that you've had here. What's your favorite one?
This is good because I actually was thinking about this, because I felt like you were gonna ask me this. So it was actually last year. It was probably December or January, so there was snow everywhere. And I'm coming back from a class, it's about 8 at night, and I get a text in our team group chat. It goes, meet us at the AMU, so that's the middle of campus.
Okay.
It's a big courtyard, there's a bunch of snow on the ground. They're okay, I'm thinking something's happening. I'm okay, well, what's going on? So all of a sudden, there's a group of guys that live in the apartments and there's a group of guys that live in the dorms. So the guys in the apartment get there first and we're just standing around what's going on? All of a sudden, the guys from the dorms get out of one of our team vans and they're just pelting us with snowballs.
Wow.
And we just had a team snowball fight. It was probably one of the most fun times I've had, not only in college, but just in general.
Who won?
Oh, definitely the upperclassmen. We destroyed the underclassmen. That's for a fact. Jamal can attest to that because he was on my team. But no, it was a great time. It was just, out of the blue, there's snow on the ground. it kind of stinks walking in the snow back from class.
Sure.
So, to kind of have like something to have fun with, with your teammates, it was a cool experience. Yeah.
From snowball fights to raining plenty of threes in the 2019-20 campaign, Marcus Howard.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for the time.
Pleasure as always.
Well, Marcus Howard, I can't imagine that the snowball fighting percentage from the field is as good as the one on the court, because that would be pretty hard for him to do. But that was an epic story, and it was such a great time to walk and talk around campus with him. You could just see how much pride he has in this university. A kid from Arizona, now in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and he's going to go down as one of the greatest college basketball players of all time. Tonight, he faces a Creighton team that is not intimidated at all of being on the road and could become the first team to beat Marquette at the Fiserv Forum twice. Nobody's gotten the Golden Eagles here twice. Marquette only has 5 losses in this building in the last 2 seasons since it opened last year. So taking a deep dive into this matchup, you've got 2 great offensive teams. They both average 78 points per game. It could be a first to 80 type of game. They both shoot well into the 40s percentage-wise, and they both can absolutely dial it up from three-point range. It's incredible how well these teams score the basketball. Off the charts good, and if you just take a look at them, what they've continually done this season is find that balance offensively. I think Creighton last week showed it against Seton Hall. They had 6 in that game in double figures, and they had 4 players with 18 points apiece in that win at Seton Hall. So this is a Blue Jays team. They really just know how to beat you in different ways. What Damian Jefferson and Denzel Mahoney have been able to do is truly special. So such an interesting game here tonight, because you think about the Big East standings and you think about how deep this league has been. For Creighton, a win here tonight and you get a sixth quadrant 1 road win to move into a tie for the most in college basketball. On the other side for Marquette, they're 7-5 in the Big East. They'd like to stay in that top 4. And with the way that the middle is shaken out right now, this for Marquette could end up being a very critical win because of the logjam within the middle. Think about where Xavier was before last night. Now they're just 1 game off the pace of Butler, Providence, and Marquette, which leads us to the schedule for the rest of this midweek. There's 3 games on Wednesday night. An FS1 doubleheader kicks it off at the Prudential Center at 6:30 Eastern Time. And it's hard to believe we're talking about these 2 teams in a bit of desperation, but they're hungry for a win. Let's face it. You've got Seton Hall taking on Butler. The Pirates with the surprising back-to-back losses after a 10-1 start to Big East play. They did get the Bulldogs when the Dogs were ranked 5th in the country at Hinkle Fieldhouse back in January. For Butler, they need Aaron Thompson in the greatest of ways. He's indispensable. They can't play their best defensively, and that's where they're rooted, without Thompson setting the tone on that end of the floor. So that is a critical matchup, because if Seton Hall, if they drop another one, then we're really talking about this Creighton team in Villanova in the Big East regular season title race. And if I had told you that last week, you would have called me crazy, because Seton Hall was up 3 games. Providence, Georgetown. That keeps the night rolling on FS1, and you got the Friars, who have been able to pile up some really quality wins, which have kind of canceled out their bad losses in the non-conference. You think about Providence in the last 2 weeks, they've beaten Butler, Creighton, and Seton Hall. Strange team. They've also lost to St. John's and Xavier. Strange team. So for the Friars, Wednesday night, at Georgetown, a Georgetown team that you want to say has turned a corner, but the question that you ask yourself is, okay, are they deep enough? Are they deep enough? Which, by the way, Marquette has started to warm up here. You wonder if Mr. Howard's going to get out here. If he does start warming up, we'll show you some of those warm-ups like we did last week at the Prudential Center. I'm putting our camera guy on the spots here, the great Ujosh Patel with us in Milwaukee. We are waiting Lawrence Bowden, and he should be joining us here any moment. The former Big East all-time leading scorer with 1,406 career points. He's here tonight to honor Marcus Howard, who's at 1,408 and counting. Busy week in the Big East. Perfect standalone game here tonight between Creighton and Marquette. We'll have Lawrence Moden in a few moments, but first we'll take a timeout on Big East Shootaround from Milwaukee.
There's nothing like the Big East tournament. It's the most competitive conference in the country.
Fans feel it. The energy in the building right now is phenomenal.
You have to be determined. You have to be tough. Every game's a big game.
Howard for the win.
It's survive and advance.
The Musketeers will move on to semifinals.
You lose, you go home. At the end of the day, it's all about who wants it more.
And see Noah's at 5.
The Big East Tournament at Madison Square Garden. Get tickets now.
There's nothing like the Big East tournament. It's the most competitive conference in the country.
Fans feel it. The energy in the building right now is phenomenal.
You have to be determined. You have to be tough. Every game's a big game.
Howard for the win.
It's survive and advance.
The Musketeers will move on to semifinals.
You lose, you go home. At the end of the day, it's all about who wants it more.
And see Noah's at 5.
The Big East Tournament at Madison Square Garden. Get tickets now.
You're looking live here at Marcus Howard warming up in the corner, a place that he knows all too well and has drained so many shots throughout his career. The Golden Eagles warming up at the Fiserv Forum. It's Big East Shootaround from Milwaukee. John Fancy here with you. A critical showdown between these two teams. Creighton having won 7 of their last 8 games. They have been a machine lately. And a Marquette team that has found themselves. So you're watching Marcus Howard warm up. Right now, Sakar Annam also dribbling here. And this is a player, a senior in Sakar Annam, who has really taken a big step here as a senior, I think, on the offensive end of the floor. He's averaging over 14 points per game. And just his versatility at the wing. He does things that you can't necessarily coach. So, special player. And this senior class, their senior day, folks, by the way, is going to come February 29th, part of a Fox doubleheader. They're going to take on Seton Hall. And you don't need me to tell you about the tension between these two teams from last year in the Big East Tournament semifinals. And now Seton Hall will play in Milwaukee in what should be a great atmosphere here at the Fiserv Forum. Electric. Marcus Howard's final game in MKE. And on the other side, a Seton Hall team that is going to be really in an interesting situation for that regular season championship. There's still a lot of possibilities here that could open up in the Big East in terms of just who wins this regular season title. This Marquette team does have 5 conference losses, so it's unlikely that they could get it, but they could get up in the standings, could be a top 3 Big East tournament team, seed-wise. And for the Golden Eagles, the question was simple coming into this season. Can they finish out the season better than they did last year when they really fell off? They just did not finish the season strong. Things went south at the end, and it was very unfortunate for Steve Wojciechowski. You play as well as they did for much of the season. You get a top 10 ranking. They were the highest in program history and just unable to really hang on at the end. And you heard Marcus Howard say it in our walk and talk, that this year is about finishing. That's what it's about for this Golden Eagles program. So Marquette warming up here. We should have Lawrence Moden at some point in Milwaukee, the former Big East all-time leading scorer, joining us. It's Big East Shootaround from Fiserv Forum. This facility just beautiful, and it's been such a great time for basketball in Milwaukee. You think about the Bucks and their success, and now Marquette, what they've been able to do. Just getting an update. We should have Lawrence Moden here in the next 2 or 3 minutes with you guys, so stay tuned for that, because he has a record, folks, that stood for a quarter century. You know, it really is something when you think about Moden. He played in the Big East in an amazing era. just how good was it when Moden was a senior? When he was a senior, Allen Iverson was an All-Big East second-team selection. He wasn't even one of the 5 best players in the league, according to the coaches. Players of the year during Moden's time, like Alonzo Mourning, Kerry Kittles. He played in a really special era in the league. Well, on that note, we were telling you that he would be stopping by, and here he is. It is Lawrence Moden. Lawrence, how are you?
I'm doing fine, my friend. How are you?
They're doing very well. Good. Thank you for coming by the show here. And you are now the former all-time Big East leading scorer, 1,406 career points. Yeah. I'm curious. Throughout the last quarter century, has it ever hit you that this record would ever get broken?
I really haven't thought about it. But you know, as we know, all records are made to be broken. You know, Marcus is a great player, and if anything I can say is, you know, hopefully he holds it for 25 years like I did. You know, it's definitely a blessing. You know, during my time, it was some great players. You know, Ray Allen, Kerry Kittles, Allen Iverson, Derek Coleman, Billy Owens, Pearl Washington. I mean, the list goes on and on. Donyell Marshall, Malik Sealy. There's so many great players that have come out of the Big East. And like I told him, you know, I'm passing the torch to him for the new Big East. So
literally doing it tonight. How did this all come about for you to get out to Milwaukee?
Well, you know, it was something that I had mentioned to my people back in Syracuse if he was to happen to break, because they had told me, I didn't even realize it, but they had told me he was going to break the record. And I said if there was a situation that he was going to break it, I would definitely like to be there to give him the game ball to pass the torch for him in this new Big East.
Really just a special thing for you to be out here and pass that torch to Marcus Howard. Lawrence, you know greatness. How does Marcus Howard define it in your eyes?
Oh, great player. You know, I've watched him for a couple of years now. Kind of reminds me of a Kemba Walker. You know, scoring point guard, a good team player, good motivator, and just an all-around good person. Got a chance to see him earlier, and you know, I think he has NBA potential. But I tell people all the time, you don't have to be in the NBA to get paid.
Exactly right. How much Big East basketball do you still watch as a Syracuse alum?
I watch basketball in general, all conferences. It really doesn't matter. You know, of course, you know, when I was playing, we were in the Big East, and now, you know, with the different teams, Creighton and Marquette and Xavier, it's a little different now, you know, but basketball is basketball. I enjoy watching it, and I will always bleed orange.
You said that to me last week, that you're Big East till you die.
Absolutely.
This is a reconfigured When you think about the Big East and the history of this league, how close is it to your heart?
Oh, it'll stay with me forever. You know, like you said, being the all-time leading scorer for 25 years, that's half of my life. And that's a blessing within itself. You know, Big East has always been competitive. And this year they have a strong case for at least 6 or 7 teams making the Big East. So everything is about timing. You know, and I'm here to enjoy it, and I got my Big East mentality today.
What's your best Jim Boeheim story, save for air?
My best Jim Boeheim story, Coach Bay, him drawing up a play, you know, at a timeout, him drawing up a play, and after he draws the play up, we say 1, 2, 3, cue, and we go out on the court, and he say, Lawrence, come here. And I'm like, what's up, Coach? And he said, go get a bucket, son. I don't care how you do it.
You did that quite a bit. You scored over 1,400 points. Yeah. I think you got some buckets.
Yeah, some good times. 20 points for 4 years is not bad.
What's your message to Marcus Howard tonight as you pass that torch on to him?
Yeah, just keep working hard, being the best player and person that you can be. You know, he seems like a very good person. Stay hungry, and the sky's the limit. You know, like I said, I'm passing the torch to him, and this is a situation where for 25 years or longer, he can hold it for this new Big East era.
It's so magical, Lawrence. You talk to players throughout the years, they say the places that basketball can take you. Marquette wasn't in the Big East when you were playing. It's just so incredible to me that the stars align, and right now you're here in Milwaukee, kind of connecting the past to the present of this league.
Absolutely, but that also goes by showing how much of a good program and a classy program Marquette is. A lot of schools probably wouldn't do what they're doing for me right now, and I'll never forget them for that. And I can always have people understand that me and Marcus's name will go down in history together. We always have something tied together with us. You know, when people ask him who record did he break, he'll say my name, and when people ask me, I'll say his name. So it coincides.
Rumor has it that your Syracuse jersey was shipped out here. We got some kicks for you. You versus Howard after the game, one-on-one.
No contest. Poetry and Moten, baby, till I die.
Oh, Lawrence Moten, ladies and gentlemen. How about that? You may not be the all-time Big East lead scorer, but you said it. Poetry and?
Poetry and Moten, not motion, Moten.
All right, Lawrence, congratulations. Welcome tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We'll take one final timeout and then close it out here from the Fiserv Forum on Shootaround.
Big East tournament. It's the most competitive conference in the country.
Fans feel it. The energy in the building right now is phenomenal. You have to be determined. You have to be tough. Every game's a big game.
Howard for the win.
It's survive and advance.
The Musketeers will move on to the semifinals.
You lose, you go home. At the end of the day, it's all about who wants it more.
And see Noah survive.
The Big East Tournament at Madison Square Garden. Get tickets now.
Let's take one more look at the midweek schedule in Big East hoops. This is the only game of the night in the Big East. Creighton and Marquette in a fitting standalone game. A top 20 showdown at the Fiserv Forum. 3 games on the docket on Wednesday night. We told you about Seton Hall and Butler, another top 25 game. Also, Providence paying a visit to Georgetown. 2 teams urgent, 2 teams in the bubble conversation. And finally, Villanova and DePaul on CBS Sports Network. If there's ever a time for the Blue Demons to have an inspired performance, it's against the team that's been the heavyweight in the Big East. We'll see what happens at Wintrust Arena Wednesday night. A full weekend ahead of Big East basketball as well, but for now, get ready for the threes to fly. Could be a first to 80 showdown. Get ready for Marcus Howard. Some history getting honored tonight in what should be a near-capacity crowd right here at the Fiserv Forum. And on the other side, a Creighton team that can just fill it up. Zagorowski, Balak, Alexander. They are so much fun to watch, and Creighton Marquette is must-see Big East hoops tonight. For our field producer here, Ujosh Patel, Bobby Mullen back in New York. Thanks to Lawrence Moten, the Syracuse great, for joining us. Ben Steele from the Journal-Sentinel. I'm John Fanta saying so long for now. Get to FS1 at 8:30 Eastern Time for Creighton and Marquette, the lone ranked versus ranked game of the night in college hoops. Buckle up, everybody. Gonna be fun. So long for now from Milwaukee.